Welcome to the Reimagine podcast. Each week, give yourself 30 minutes and meet the people working hard to create the future of insurance today.
Hi, this is Paul Tyler, and welcome to another episode of the Reimagine podcast. Laura, how are you?
I'm doing well, Paul. It's great to be here today. I'm excited to be surrounded by some local friends.
Yeah. Well, listen, we had a very successful announcement launch of our TalentBridge23, and this is going to be one of the first of a number of episodes telling a story of the companies, the people, the educators, and local talent that we're bringing together. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to you, Laura. Do you want to set up the episode and kick us off?
Absolutely. So episode 1, let's talk about the program foundation, kind of who we have at the table here. As Paul mentioned, we've successfully kicked off the program. We had a casual, what was it, Paul? Over 33 million impressions on the information that went out. So we're excited about this, and other people are excited as well. We have a lot of people who are involved. We want to showcase them to you. So in our first episode today, we have with us Michaela Hartle. She is the program assistant for the UConn Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. She'll be speaking with us about the program, what it is, how long it's been in play for, and why it's so important to the community around us. We have Dustin Yoder, CEO of Surify. Surify has been an active member in the Hartford innovation ecosystem for a number of years now, and they've played a role in many different ways. So we're excited to hear from Dustin. And also with us today, we have Jessica Fail, Community Engagement and Internal Communications for Nassau Financial Group. And Jessica has an interesting lens. She's been a part of the Hartford ecosystem and community for quite some time, wearing very many hats, and we're lucky to have her here with us at Nassau, and she'll be speaking from the mentor role. So as we put together our story and lay this foundation, I think it's important that we start at the beginning. Michaela, do you mind introducing yourself and telling us a little about who you are, what you do with CCEI, and what the program actually is?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me today. So I'm Michaela. I'm a program assistant. I've been with CCEI for about 4 years now. This is definitely my first year working with the Insurtech program, and I'm so excited to see where this evolves to. So my role is to be kind of the coordinator to help the startups and the students find their matches to work with, as well as support the different instructors throughout the fall and the spring. So the Insurtech initiative started about 5 years ago. This is our 5th cohort, and it's a joint effort between the University of Connecticut at the Connecticut Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, as well as the University of Hartford School of Business. So the first half of the program in the fall is taught by Mike Kalin and Ken Goldstein. They bring in multiple different guest speakers from the industry to speak to the class. And then Leland Holcomb comes in the spring, and he teaches the experiential learning portion of it, where the students get to work with different startups and learn different perspectives hands-on.
Yeah, that's great. And it's interesting, too. As you had mentioned, it's a combination of UConn and UHeart. And I believe we were speaking with Ken a number of weeks back, and he had mentioned it's the first of its kind in the nation. So it's exciting for us to be partnering with you and the work that you're doing. Jess, do you mind introducing yourself and a little bit about the work you do here with us at Nassau?
Sure. Thanks for having me. At Nassau, I wear a couple different hats, but I think what's most relevant to today's conversation is my work on our communications team, and I also oversee Nassau's community engagement program. We have a really strong and robust volunteer program, and so I work with our employees to get them out into the community and get them involved in programs and opportunities like TalentBridge and other incubators, accelerators that are taking place in our area. So I'm hoping to bring, from the mentor standpoint, maybe a little bit of the skills about storytelling, because a lot of what I do every day is storytelling, whether it be things that are being told from other departments, HR news, community news, marketing news. And I think there's a finesse to telling your story and getting buy-in from people around you. So I'm hoping to share that insight with the startups and the students.
Yeah, that's great. And speaking of finesse, Dustin, do you mind introducing yourself a little bit about Surify and the work that you guys are doing?
Yeah, I'm not sure I fall under finesse. I have never, if you've seen me move around, like my shoes don't last very long, right? Because I always kick things. So there's not much finesse, my wife would tell you. But yeah, I'm Dustin Yoder. I guess it's a little bit about me. I'm not very finesseful. I'm CEO of a B2B software company called Surefy. We have been friends here with Paul actually on the call for a long time. I want to say, I don't know, 7-8 years, in which I actually started this company about 10 years ago. I didn't know what I was doing for the first 4, which means I made no money and wandered the world to try to figure out what I was doing. I had a wonderful wife and really cheap rent that helped support that habit of trying to make my life successful. And then about 6 years ago, I could go into my long history, but long story short, unless Payne mentioned, we found the opportunity really to serve life and annuity companies, specifically around North America, although I did roam the world to first see if that was an opportunity. And today, we provide a platform to sell, service, engage, and enable agents to those life and annuity companies. We're about 300 people today. I still live in the 2-bedroom, 1-bath that I started the company at the table. What that means, it's a long journey and there's a lot of work to do. And you still don't make a lot of money until maybe one day the world works out. So we're still holding on tight there. And I now have 3 daughters, which are now more important. And so, that's what I do. I say the only other comment I make is at first, it's me at a table trying to drive things, and that's how it started. And now I have a wonderful team, and I work for them in many ways because they're usually, if you're good, they're a lot smarter than you, which means you got to do a lot of things that they say. So it's a little bit about me.
Yeah, and Dustin, I just got to jump in. Yeah, we've had a great relationship over the years, and it's been just terrific to watch your company grow. First of all, thank you for the support your company has provided to this program in prior years. Laura, I think Surefy created one of the best opportunities, I think, for interns, right? Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had the opportunity to pair at least 2 interns per opportunity with Surefy because of what they put out on the table and how they interact with the intern and the work that they give them.
Yeah. So I guess, my first question for you, you just described your journey. It's interesting. When does a startup not a startup? And in your particular journey, at what point did, this thing on a table turn into like this, feel like you've actually got like a viable machine going? What was that?
Interestingly enough, right? It's, the pandemic set us back to the same table, yet the team was much bigger. But yeah, I think a startup, if you go back to like Steve Blank, who was a teacher of Eric Ries of a startup, who wrote The Lean Startup, he said a startup is a business in search of a business model. And I think when we talk about startups in the tech ecosystem, we're not talking about a grocery store that's a startup or anything. We are talking about someone that with a new idea in which we're trying to sell in and create a business. So for starters, although you may, going back to 2016 when the business really, got started from a revenue standpoint, and we raised money in 2016, I think when you actually have a viable business, i.e. a business model that can drive you and exist without hopes and dreams and telling people that one day it will be a business model, then I think you do transition out of a startup in some level. I would say we do feel like we have made that transition, given, I say, practically speaking, you make margin on the things you sell, and thus you have a predictable or feasible business model moving forward. And that took a long time to be clear, because you have to have a base of core people building something. You're selling it, but you haven't sold enough of it. It's not, if everyone stops today, you sink. And so thus you're still a startup. I think today, right, under, I have a broad range of clients around North America. If one of them were to leave or something were to happen, let's say, like, you still have viable businesses and revenue that has margin across it. And I think you do. I'm being somewhat technical, but I would say there's that point when you say this business will not die if someone doesn't have a hope or dream. Like, there is a real business here. So And there's something about, if you're a 12-person company, maybe you can feel like a startup. I think, having 300 now and just more of a machine, that's kicked me out of the most departments at this point, it does feel a lot less like the startup it once was. And I really think it comes down to, if you're not in search of a business model and you have one, you're now exiting that stage at some point.
So I want to latch onto the hopes and dreams comment, because I think a lot of it is around hopes and dreams and small tables. Michaela, when the students apply for the program, because it does take an application process, what are their intentions? Are they thinking, I'm going to start a business and here's how I'm going to experience it through an internship or a fellowship type opportunity? What have you heard? What have you seen from the students who are involved?
Yeah, so great question. There's definitely a wide range of responses to that. So some students come in because they just want to learn more about the industry. They want to be involved in some capacity, but don't quite know how or when necessarily, because these are like 18 to 22-year-olds usually. And then in some cases, students are so inspired working with these startups, they want to continue to work with them. And some students do land full-time jobs after they intern with these startups. And other students want to start their own Insurtech startup or work in the industry. So it definitely depends on their experience and their background, but students always come into this program very inspired.
And Jess, I have to ask the question. So I know your background, and it goes broader than what you explained. You had, many years with the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Hartford has part of your heart. What would you like to share? I mean, we have Dustin, startup now out of the phase. Michaela's working with students who are here located in Hartford. What would you share with somebody who is wanting to either grow a business or learn more about our ecosystem here? What's important for them to know?
I think I would share that Hartford is really interested in having all of these startups come here. And I think that's really important, is that there's interest, first of all, and that there's so many people that are willing to wrap their arms around them and find out what are their needs and how can we help meet them. The mayor has always said, hey, give me a call. I'll give you my cell phone. The door is always open. We have so many corporate partners. Many of them are participating in the TalentBridge program, who want you to bring your new technology, bring your students here and teach them. And so I just find Hartford is such a welcoming place, and we're so forward thinking. We just want to know what's the next big thing, what's on the horizon, how can we get behind it? And I think that slowly but surely, Hartford has really put itself on a map. And we have this new partnership with the UK, and the Israeli Roadshow has come through twice already. And so you're seeing that Insurtech startups are finding Hartford to be the place that they want to be, that we're the hub where they can come and work out some of their kinks, and they can get some new talent and then see where it goes from there. So it's really exciting to be a part of it, to be honest with you, because we've seen this like slow progression and we've really caught our stride at this point.
And Jessica, you have a lot on your plate. I know you're chasing me for a couple of programs we've been working on this year.
Perhaps.
Yeah. So, why mentor personally? What drives you? And then, if we pulled you back, 4 months, 5 months from now, and you could say, this is the impact I had, or this is what I got out of being mentor. What is it?
Mm-hmm. Well, fortunately, I've had some really amazing mentors in my life, and I feel like this is a prime opportunity to pay it forward. And I personally get really inspired by the students and the startups. I think there's a certain mentality that the students and the startups bring. It's very aspirational. It's very like, go get it. There's no reason for a no. There might be a different path or a different pivot, but I just really like to surround myself with people like that. And I think that I will learn a lot from them. I think the students of this generation are so much smarter and beyond their years than we ever were. And I kind of want to learn from them. I have 2 teenagers. I learn from them all the time. They are the smartest, most brilliant kids. And to be able to work so closely with the college students and the startups, I think is going to be really pivotal for me personally. And I think also NASA, we like to have a little look behind the curtain, and this might be our way of doing it, and be some early adopters to the new technology and innovations that are going to come out of this program.
That's great. Michaela, I think have you actually matched the startups with the students at this point? Or is this right around the corner?
Yes, so they are officially matched, and those emails are being sent out today. So everyone will be finding out who they're going to be working with this semester.
And what can you say about this group that may be different than prior cohorts that have come through the program?
Yeah, so this cohort, we have 11 fellows, and it was actually amazing when I was going through all their applications and the ones we accepted into the fellowship. We have 7 different majors amongst just 11 students. So that just shows the diversity in background, and it's going to be really exciting because the students aren't going to just be learning from the startups, but I think the startups are actually going to learn a lot from these students with the wide variety of backgrounds that they have.
Dustin, I'll ask you a similar question. And I see that you have experience mentoring yourself for GIA and other programs. What do you hope to gain from this? Obviously, the ability to welcome in a vetted student into your business, getting that intern, that fellow is valuable. But what else is there for Surify and for you in this program?
It's a good question. I think there's a couple elements, as Jessica was mentioning, and other stuff here. I think, you can't I never look at anything. It's like, some people say, why do you go to coffees with people? And the answer is like, well, I don't know, but I'm optimistic that if I do that, the probability of something positive coming on average is good. And that's just a belief system, right? And I think there's something similar when you look at an intern. And in this case, you guys have vetted them. They want to do it. I think intent is so important. I used to be a recruiter over 10 years ago. And I still firmly believe that intent, that you want something, is so important for that person that's looking to hire someone. Like someone that tells me they want to be there. Like I actually went and worked. I wanted to get into startups, and the first startup I ever worked for, I worked for free. Like I was relentless. I said, I'm gonna work for you. Like let me work for you. I went and read the CEO's book. I did all these things, and they're like, holy hell! Like this person has intent. Like yeah, give them a desk. Like that's literally what happened. It was like they didn't even have a job. It was just like, and I just I'll do something, and this was after college, mind you. Like literally, I wanted to transition to tech, and that's what I did. So I say that because I think as I look at bringing on interns and mentorship in general, I think they're actually an intern in many ways. I'll be totally frank with you. An intern doesn't always. There's levels of like, yeah, they take work. Like a good internship program, you're going to be giving, and then ideally, because Michaela's done a great job vetting them, these people have intent, they're going to then give. And so it is a mutual exchange. I will say it isn't like no work, and it isn't like any mentor. Like I love going into my heart of even mentorship, which I'm going to put internship as there. Ideally, there's some angle of that here. It is the belief that one, as Jessica mentioned, she's had great mentors. I've had great mentors. People that took my coffee meeting when they shouldn't have, I kind of owe my life to. Okay. So number one, I have a thing that I always take someone's coffee meeting. No one ever asked me, I kid you not, but I will not take a random person's coffee meeting. And it's crazy that's how I made myself was like, driving, not in my sphere, but I would like reach out and say, I want a coffee with you. They wouldn't respond and be like, hey, I'm next door. Can I have a coffee with you? And I did that my whole life. And those people become your mentors, or they realize you're a crazy kid and that you want to work hard. And so I look at that mentality and what I owe to those people. And then the ones that stayed along and helped me and introduced me because I was a worthwhile, crazy kid. I think similarly, I have that belief that there's people out there that have that drive, that passion. Yeah, we don't have experience. When we go to college, we walk out, we have macro general knowledge, right? Like general education. It doesn't even matter if we have a specialty. We kind of we're not able to typically land the plane, and we got to get in the weeds to know what the hell's going on. And I think if you find people with intent that are smart, because Michaela's done her job vetting them both on intent and also intellect, it's just bound to be successful if those two things align. And I think, but it is important for the company and someone like we have to buy in too, is the other side, which is why you guys are doing a great job. You're finding those with intent like us who believe in those people. And then on the other side, you're finding people that want to invest in what is unknown to them and maybe even unknown to the company. Let's be honest. It's not like not all companies do interns, not all companies mentor people. I mean, you name it. And then you throw them together. And if those two concoctions are together, right, then you have something. And I think we've benefited greatly from that on our side with some of the interns that I've got to interact. I haven't interacted with every intern here now, but like I know some personally, and it's just because they dove in and impressed everyone. And again, they had no business doing it, but they did it. And that's how I see, like, that's my message to anyone is like, no, I had no business doing anything I did. No, interns necessarily don't have any business doing what the opportunity, but that's why you got to go for it. So I'm a big believer, kind of matching intent, intellect, and then the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, I know it takes work to create an internship, right? Create the work, find the people inside the company. So thank you, first of all, for doing that. Guess what? Michaela didn't tell you this, Dustin, but she actually paired me with you. So I'm your intern. Okay.
Surprise.
Give me some examples. Okay. I want to impress you.
You're going to be trackable. We're gonna. Yeah. At least we'll have our meetings now. That's good.
Yeah. So tell me, what should I do? How do I, in this sort of short window of time, just out deliver, whatever your expectations and say, hey, listen, Brian, hire that guy, Paul. I'm surprised. Okay. He should be part of our team. What's that bar or stories of people who've crossed that bar that say, this is somebody we want permanently on our team?
I mean, in a startup or fast-paced environment, and again, even if you transition out of startup, if it's that grow mindset, like grow meaning like your company must grow, like in any time you have invested companies, there's a very big push for high growth. The honest answer is like it is just a relentless pursuit to be great, do great, and show someone, like going back to my little thing about me working for free when I wanted to get in, there's something you need. The ideal company has a bunch of people that all think they're the CEO of whatever job they have, and that'll always come out. Honestly, like that will come out. Like I always know, like I'll pay someone, even when we interview sometimes, and it's a really important position, we'll pay them, good money to do a project. And what's interesting is you can tell, one, if they're willing to do something, which I know not in every case people are, to be honest, because they're busy or too successful. But like you can just see the intent people put in things. And I think it's not hard. Like if you're an intern, the people around you will recognize if you're sitting back and you're passive and you're kind of waiting to be told what to do, or that's going to be your to do, or you're someone that's driving, like, kind of take 3 shots and miss 2 and hit 1 versus, hey, like always needing to, kind of shoot the right shot and ask and go. I just think like people that go for it on average are going to be more sought after. And that's just been my experience, maybe because I didn't have the intellect side, so I had to be the go for it side. But I see that. Like I'm always just looking for the person that's going to go over the top. You can feel they're going to get better every day versus like me as the mentor or boss or whatever is going to guide them to greatness. I feel like no one really guided me or anybody else to any level of greatness. I just failed a lot. People saw that and kept giving me another chance because I'm taking more shots than everybody. And I don't know, I'm just big into that person's mentality. Unless you're just super like genius, which I don't know much about, but I got some people like that. Like, yeah, they come across and maybe you get a pass, but the rest of us, it's all about the world is still looking for people that go all in, that whatever job you have, remember, you guys are having like developer. I think you guys, I mean, again, we've worked with some of your sales, development, product. These are all different types of interns. So the role, I'd have to define like what exact task, but the mentality actually is totally transferable. And you're either going to sit back and wait, or you're going to work, I'm going to make it up. You're going to work twice as much and do 2 projects and say, which one is it? Versus, oh, I didn't do anything because I didn't know exactly what you wanted. Like, there's a big difference between those two. Like, if someone comes to me and shows me 2 examples and I know they both took 40 hours, I'm like, damn, that one's not the right way at all, but you really went all out. Like, who doesn't want that person? It's pretty simple. Like, hey, go rake the lawn, and they go rake the neighbor's lawn and your lawn. You're like, oh, well, we didn't really have to rake the neighbor's lawn, but wow, that's pretty good. Like, I mean, it's simple stuff.
Yeah, no, I love that. And you're right. So I have been lucky in that I've been able to work with an intern who's just gone all out. It's the ideas. It's the, hey, I know you asked for this, but I'm going to give it to you in orange, blue, purple, and yellow. And then I'm going to give it to you holographically because I just learned that skill today because I thought it might be helpful. So I am in belief and agreement with you that it really is about intent and intellect. And I'll take intent over intellect if it's the right fit too. So Jessica, from your perspective, let's say that we have this intern and they have this hardworking ability and they're giving it their all. How do they communicate that? We talked about generation. The word generation came up. You were talking about your teenage children and how it's a different world for them today than it was for us. How do they communicate not only what they're doing? It could be, sharing their project or pitching an idea to the startup or to their university or to the world. How do they do it? What recommendations do you have for them, and what considerations should they at least be aware of?
Yeah, I think just to before I go there, I just had a thought that I wanted to say in response to what you have said and Dustin said. And I think it's to encourage the companies to not be afraid to give the interns meaningful work. And don't be afraid of what will come out of it. Because I think sometimes companies, like in my day of interning, it was running coffee, filing some papers, doing facsimiles, if you guys know what that is, sending a fax. And so I wasn't doing anything meaningful, so they didn't really see my full potential in what was possible. And so I would just encourage any of the companies that are going to be willing to take on startups to give them, companies willing to take on the students to give them meaningful work, because I think they're going to impress you with what is possible, and they will take it to the next level and give it to you in every color and a holographic representation of it. So remind me what my question was, Laura. I already forgot because I was hanging on to that other thought.
No.
Oh, wait, I remember.
Yes, around the communication.
Yes,
what
exactly.
should they be aware of?
I would say for communications, and this is not just students, this is anyone. I think you need to know your audience for sure and understand how they want to be communicated with and what their interests are. You need to learn how to read the room, read the body language. Are they responding to what you're saying? In the Insurtech field in particular, the jargon can get super techy very quick, and you can lose people who are not necessarily in the avenue of Insurtech. So I would caution people to make sure they be careful about which jargons they're using and in which company. Definitely there's a shift of modernizing your approach of communicating. Long gone are the days of just single posts of text. And now I think people respond better to animation and graphics, and actually less words. You can say more with less words. So fewer words, I should say. So definitely modernizing your approach. And I think to be an effective communicator, you have to be an even better listener. Listening to what people are saying, and not just listening so that you can respond to what they're saying, but listening to really understand what the point is so that you can tailor what you're saying. And as these college students are coming out of their colleges and universities, they may not have a ton of experience, but if they can carry themselves well and they can present themselves well and they have this confidence and they can communicate effectively, I think they're going to find that more companies are be willing to give them a shot because they see that promise in them.
Yeah. Hey, go ahead, Dustin.
No, I don't know if it's controversial. I love what I want I just got to say it. I want an intern needs to show what they're doing in a presentation every time with a punch. Like, if you have your shot, like let's say like let's pretend I don't have an intern, but let's pretend I had an intern that worked for me. Like every time they come in, it's like all their work. Let's say they spent 60 hours. They need to come in and they have a little 30-minute slot with me. They can either chat with me, which I can chat with anybody for 30 minutes. It's great. Or they can come in and impress me because their 40 or 60 hours of work is literally on a Google slide or a PowerPoint. And they go, check this out. This is what I've been doing. Bop, 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 bop. And by the way, those people always win me over because my time is short. No, don't get me wrong. It's not about likability or anything, but if you want to convert and you want to roll, I kid you not, it's like a board. What do you do with a board? What you do is you work for 90 days, like all these really smart people, 300 people work for 90 days, and then a board, you bring it in and you present to them. And I feel like I want a high school class and college classes of all about like a Google slide or something to how to like take 60 hours of work and present. And I kid you not, the people I like the most is someone that I know they're smart. I know they got a job, and every time they come to me, they make me feel like they're going to show me, keyword, show me what they did. If you wrote a paper for someone, put it in a presentation, little block paragraphs, and say, this is about this, this is about this, this is about this. The greatness is this. Here's a report of who's read it, blah, 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 boom. And it's like, wow, you just took the idea of, hey, what'd you do, Dustin? Yeah, I wrote a paper to look at this. I feel like the most successful people in any area, if you're a developer, you could do the same thing. Keep in mind, the most successful people in any area are people that can sell a little bit. Sell me what you did, make me impressed, and then you could literally go dinker around somewhere, and the next time you come in, you present something, I'd be like, damn, this person's good. So I don't know, I swear, like no one has time to micromanage you, so you need to showcase what you do. I'm not gonna think about you. You're not, and hopefully you're not thinking about me. You're doing your thing, and then you're going to sell. And you know the best part, when you get done with that internship, and let's say, I don't know, you don't convert, you have 10 presentations of the shit you did, and that's going to be amazing because you're going to sell that to the next person. Because no one wants to buy. Honestly, there's a lot of people out there. We want to buy people that do things. And then, yeah, your personality, intellect, drive, yeah, those are part of why we're interviewing you. But tell me what you did. And I want to know that every week, just to be clear. I just want to like sell me every week and I'll be like, this person's got a job. They're doing everything.
So Michaela, listening to that piece of it and the feedback, which I love, how does the university, what is UConn, UHeart, what are you all doing to help prepare these students? Is that part of the dialogue that you have with them as they're going through the education process?
Yeah.
Tell us about that story.
Absolutely. So listening to everything Jessica and Dustin have said so far, it makes me very excited for the startups to find out who they're working with, just because these fellows are so driven, and working with them throughout the semester and then learning from them and watching their final presentations in November, I was blown away. They were so professional, and the ideas they came up with were mind blowing. And I was speaking with Mike Kalin and Ken Goldstein after class, and they were just reiterating the fact that these students had come so far in such a short amount of time that we can't wait to see where they're going to go during their internship with the startup. So during the semester, we provide them the tools that they need, and then it's what they do with those tools that they make themselves who they become for the spring. So these students are definitely promising, and I can't wait to see how the startups interact with them and what comes out of this.
Yeah, and go ahead, Paul.
I was watching television the other night. I saw a clip of Anthony Bourdain. Dustin, you'd love this. And he was, his young version. He said, go to culinary school. Stop. Before you go to culinary school, go work in a restaurant for a year. Okay? Clean the dishes, do the service, do the da-da-da. If you still love it, go to school. And I think, Michaela, what I love about what you're doing is you're kind of mixing both. You're a little bit of education, but you're putting people in the center of things so that, they're working with Dustin. They're getting a sense of, is this really for me? And I think some people, I don't know, how many people, Michaela, come through the program and say, that was nice. I think I'll take this job over here. And how many do you think come through and say, you know what? Dustin, let me wash the dishes. Just give me a buck. Let me eat at the end of the night. What's your sense, Michaela?
Yeah, I think based on feedback I've heard over the last 4 years and what I've witnessed this past semester, I think all these students just want an opportunity to show who they are, what they can do, and they want a taste of it. So they know when they're going into the real world after they graduate that they have this experience and they can prove to people when they want that full-time job that they can accomplish this. And like Dustin was saying, if you give them a chance, like let them show you what they can do and be impressed by it, and don't give them the coffee runs and all of that. Give them something that is measurable and that they can really take them to the next level and prove to you that they're worth being there and they're going to make a difference in your startup.
Yeah, for the people sitting in their desks right now, like the amount of people that said, I want to be like a writer, or I want to be a blogger, or can I intern in that? And my first response is, where's your random blog that no one knows about? Where's your blog about, like, I actually know the edit. There's a company, have you ever heard of a company called like Pop Sugar or something? It was so my friend was the editor of that company. Do you know how she got the first job there? She made her own bachelor blog. Like literally, like she just would write while she was in college about each episode. See, like that's what shows someone you actually can get that first job. And like, I don't care what job you have. If you say you're going to be a developer and you go to class, make a stupid application. If you say you're going to be a designer, draw me some greeting cards. I don't give a shit. The point is you need, like, life is about what we do, and we're not waiting for someone else. And these people everyone you've ever given to us, Michaela, is like, they have that drive. But I'm talking to you that maybe isn't in the fellow class. Like, it's all about like getting out of your chair and doing something. And the world is so full, there's so little people out there that are like doing something when they're not getting paid or not getting asked, that you can stand out. The literal world is everyone's oyster if they just like do something. I know I sound like I'm preaching, kind of am, but I believe it. I mean, literally, I was that kid. Like I had a 3.3 GPA in high school. I squeezed into college. And then I just told people, I'll do anything. Let's do this.
I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't just jump in real quick and say that through volunteerism is another way that you can gain a lot of the experience. And that sort of goes in line with unpaid work, but gaining a ton of experience and insight and perspective. And there's so many organizations out there that are looking for different technology, like some of the smaller nonprofits, they might need someone to help manage their website or help them develop an app or work an event or do some communications or PR work. And so I know I mentioned Nassau has a really strong volunteer program for our employees. And one of the reasons we do it is a little bit of the professional development, but it's also to get cultured and to learn about these nonprofits. But from a student perspective, if you can't find a meaningful way and meaningful company that wants to hire you for your experience, there are tens of thousands of nonprofit organizations that would take you in with open arms. A lot of the positions are hybrid and remote, so you don't even need to live in the same community as those groups. But I wouldn't underestimate the value that volunteering can also bring to building out your resume and giving yourself some confidence and some credibility and making some connections. And pretty soon you'll be getting coffee invites from Dustin, and he's going to offer you a position, and the rest will be history.
So you're going to be asking me for a coffee invite. I never turn it down, and people still don't ask. I'm like,
hey, listen. I got my current one started by volunteering. Go figure, right? That's a whole nother episode. But Dustin, like you, hey.
I volunteered too, I guess, right? And I worked for a nonprofit as my first job, and that's what I was transitioning. And that's the hardest job I've ever had to date. So those two things together, I just agree with that.
So, Laura, where does this leave us? We're close to the top of the hour.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we've built a pretty strong foundation of understanding of what's to come in the episodes ahead. We're going to be speaking with other university representatives, some of the professors who are active. We're going to be speaking with additional startups and scale-ups who are part of the program, and mentors as well. We're lucky enough, as Paul mentioned in the beginning of the episode, to be partnered with CGI and LTI Mindtree on this effort. So for us, it's exciting. And what you've heard today, it's a lot about people, right? It's putting people together in a way that makes sense. And not every match is going to potentially make sense. We've done the best that we can, but that's what's interesting about the world is I'd say to everyone out there, take that leap of faith, give it your all, see what happens. And if you've decided that maybe it's not where you thought it would go, like my internship personally in college, I worked at an ad agency and I left knowing that I never wanted to step foot in an ad agency again. And that was a positive experience. So I would say it's all about, optimism, working hard, and really opening the door for what's ahead. So we thank you for coming on this original foundational journey with us for the first episode. And maybe, Dustin, we'll call these mini episodes Coffee with People. Because at the end of the day, that's how we meet.
For them. If you get coffee with people, things happen.
I like it. I think we're going to do something here. Just wait to see some graphics. Paul will put it in a presentation, and I'll sell it to you.
If you're trying to get somewhere in life and you're not getting at least 3 coffees a week with random people, then you're not really trying to get anywhere. I stand by that statement.
I love it. Well, thank you, Michaela, Jessica, Dustin, for joining us today. Paul, it's been a pleasure as always. And we hope that you'll tune in for future episodes of the Reimagine podcast with special highlights from TalentBridge23. So thank you all for being with us today, and go have coffee with people.
Thanks.
Love it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks
Cheers.
for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and recommend us on iTunes, Stitcher, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more great information about this company and other great startups at imagine.nfg.com.